Baseball is back, Parker. Opening day, and it feels so damn good.
Sox, kid.
Whew.
Sox. That's all it is right now. That's all I feel. That's all you should be feeling. Sox, dude. The Late Night Baseball podcast, we are undefeated in the year 2025. White Sox are 1-0. Red Sox are 1-0. I'm on cloud nine right now. Wilyer Abreu hit 2 bombs. Red Sox won 5-2 in opening day in Texas. The White Sox came out swinging. They had a great game against the Angels. You were there. Tell me about that.
Man, it was good. Cold like every opening day in Chicago.
I bet. Yeah, that's funny because the Red Sox opening day in Texas was like everybody was pouring sweat.
right, and that they have a dome too. Let's be clear about that. But no, it was awesome. And I'll tell you what, went there today, got there early, and geez, every opening day. I mean, there is literally nothing better than walking into the ballpark on opening day. And I'm going to tell you something, Parker. I'm going to share some little inside baseball here. I was feeling the feels today, man. Like I walked in, they had the introductions, and they had 3 Black Hawk helicopters fly over during the anthem. And I usually don't have an emotional response to the anthem. Today, I really did. And I honestly, I think it was just because we went to spring training. I'm feeling the vibes. Like baseball, I'm more excited about it in 25 than I've ever been. Like, not to go political, but like a lot going on that like we just need our escape into like baseball more than ever with all the BS. And like hearing that anthem and seeing everybody and seeing baseball back, seeing the helicopters, it got me emotional. And it just struck me today how excited I am for this season. And to see the Sox do that today, ooh, knowing how just shitty they played. We'll go into that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's something to be said for, opening day is always like the most hopeful day of the year. Doesn't matter how shit your team is. Doesn't matter how much they're going to, whatever they're going to do. I've been there. I've watched some teams I knew weren't doing shit. And you're like, on opening day, you're like, at least give me this one. At least let me be excited today. I had a vastly different experience on my opening day. My opening day almost didn't happen. I woke up this morning and I forgot that today was a scheduled power outage in my neighborhood. So I was like, oh no, like I'm not going to have power today. The game was starting. The Red Sox game was starting at 1 p.m. California time. So the power outage was scheduled from 8 to 11, but we also had another power outage on Monday that was scheduled from 8 to 11. And that went till like 6 o'clock in the evening. So I was like, not very confident that I was going to get to watch this game. But it came back just before 11. So I was like, all right, cool. It's good. But we were out because there was no power. We took the family out. We got some brunch over at this really cool diner. So we got back with like 20 minutes to first pitch. And I was like, couldn't be more perfect. Power's back. Got some good breakfast. Baseball's about to start. MLB TV. Listen to me. Major League Baseball punted it into the fucking stands today when it comes to MLB TV, because I was all over social media looking, and it wasn't just me that could not connect and watch our games when they started. I did not get to watch any baseball today until the bottom of the second inning.
Oh, God.
Which, like,
dude,
doesn't matter. The grand scheme of things, the first inning and a half doesn't matter. But the fact that I was ready to watch baseball and I was like getting prepared to watch baseball and I was sitting there just watching a loading screen for, however long. It sucks. Nobody wants that. It's like we're so excited and now we got to wait even longer, even though the game's happening.
I mean, this is a great little test run for MLB. I wish they would have ran it before this, but like they're growing MLB TV, and now they have these individual market packages, and they're wanting to take all this in house, and this is not a good first impression.
No, I mean, after that, to its credit, after that, it was good. I didn't have a single problem once the game actually was being broadcast. Good. But yeah, we had a rough start there. But yeah, no, so the game was great. I had a lot of fun watching the game. Rangers Red Sox was tied 2-2 going into the top of the 9th inning. So exciting times.
It was an all Sox day. We were texting back and forth during the games, and these are two teams that we talked about it a lot here together that are just in two different two different timelines, two different experiences right now for their fans. And I
Mm-hmm.
gotta say, I want to talk about the Sox for a second because before I say this, everyone calm down. I know it's one game. I understand. I get it. I'm not gonna overreact, but please just humor me for a moment. The Sox last year lost 121 games, and for those who don't follow the White Sox, as someone who does every year, or every year, every day, every game, the problem with them last year is there was never a game, not one. I can't even think of one where they hit well, they pitched well, and they had good defense, and all three were clicking together. Not once last year. Those teams lose over
Yep.
120 games. Now, today,
Right.
they hit well. They pitched well. There was great defense in the field. For the first time in years, this
Yeah.
looked like, holy shit, this was fun to watch. And I am pumped. I don't care if they win just 70 games. If I'm watching baseball like that, sign me up.
You got to see my man, my guy,
Cam
Benny.
Boozer.
Yeah, well, you saw Cam Boozer. We saw Benny hit a bomb too.
Yeah.
Andrew Benintendi hit a bomb. That was good.
It was a fun day, and it just looked like a different brand of baseball. And I credit it to Chris Getz. I credit it a hell of a lot to Will Venable and what he has undeniably brought to that team just in his short spring training he's had with them. And like it just seems to be that both the White Sox and the Red Sox are in a very pivotal moment in different respects, but pivotal nonetheless.
Yeah. It's going to be cool to see what happens to this team over the next 3 years, because especially like, I'm really glad you guys got to see some really good baseball, and I'm not trying to be like a downer here, but I don't know that there's going to be a ton of that going around this year. And it's super cool to have gotten that on opening day. Like, I'm sure the rate was bumping for all of that. And hopefully there's more of that in the coming weeks, months, years, because that's a group of fans that definitely deserve some good baseball coming their way. But I do want to move on, because I think the game of the day was one of the more interesting scenarios that has ever happened on opening day. And I'm talking about Nationals-Phillies. Nationals-Phillies. Like, what the fuck? For those of you who don't know, the starting pitchers in this game, like, incredible starting pitching matchup. We had Zach Wheeler going for the Phillies. We had Mackenzie Gore going for the Nationals. And Zach Wheeler, he was dealing. We're talking about 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. But that's nothing compared to the line that Mackenzie Gore put up. We have 6 shut, 1 hit, 13 strikeouts for Mackenzie Gore against this very, very dangerous Phillies lineup. And fun fact, there's like almost no examples in all of baseball history, not just an opening day, but all of baseball history, of a pitcher going 6 shut, 13 Ks, and their team still losing the game. And that's what happened, because the game went to extra innings. Eventually, the Nationals were winning 1-0 when Gore left the game. Phillies put up 2 runs in the 7th. I want to say Schwarber and Harper both hit bombs that inning. If not, both of them definitely hit bombs. Then back to back. Yeah. And then put up another run in the 8th. Nationals tied it back up at 3 in the bottom of the 8th. And then we go to the 10th, and the Phillies drop 4 on the Nationals. And, that's how the game breaks down. So it sucks to be Mackenzie Gore, but I mean,
that's
happy we were there. Don't cry that it didn't go well. Be happy that it happened.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to be, I feel like the Nationals are going to be one of those teams this year that, unfortunately, I see a lot of that this year for them, where they have a couple starters like Mackenzie Gore that could actually put up some great numbers in 5, 6, 7 innings pitched. But the runs I worry about. I just worry about the consistency of their offense. I don't think this is going to be a one-time thing for them.
We're gonna have a lot of days, I think, during this national season where one guy just has a day, but it's not enough to put the team over. Like, you're gonna have CJ Abrams hit a couple bombs in a day, or maybe Dylan Cruz or James Wood pop off for a day. But then the team is just not enough to put the team over the top. So, it's gonna be interesting.
it's going to be interesting. I want to stay in the East, and I want to hop the border and go to Toronto for a second because
Okay.
listen.
Oh
So
my
number
God.
number one, I'm not even going to go to to what you're talking about yet. Before that, Ashley Rushman is out here saying, "I'm not regressing. I'm hitting 2 bombs on
Nope.
opening day." Number
Yep.
one, love that. Number two, Tyler freaking O'Neill, man.
The greatest opening day baseball player of all time. Tell me I'm wrong. Tyler O'Neill, for those of you who don't know, already owned the record for 5 consecutive opening days with a home run. He has hit a home run at every opening day from 2019 through 2024. And then today comes up in his second at bat and hits a 375-ish Oppo bomb and continues the streak to 6 consecutive opening days with a home run. Fun fact, the longest streak of anybody else in Major League Baseball is 1. So they've got a lot of work to do.
All right. Also, hold on. I didn't look at this box score for Orioles Blue Jays close enough. Freaking Cedric Mullins also hit
Yes.
2 homers.
Cedric
What
Mullins
in the
also hit
world?
2 home runs. That's the first time in years that, in a very long time, like the 60s or so, that 2 different teammates have hit home runs. And I'm wrong. I was about to say something that was really stupid. But yes, no, 2 different teammates have hit home runs. I didn't say it. Can't put it on the record. 2 different teammates hit 2 home runs in a game for the first time in literally like 80 years. It's crazy.
Wow. That's awesome. Really,
Welcome to Birdland. These Orioles are here.
I, I, I doubt him. I doubt him. The pitching, I still doubt. So that's to prove it otherwise. No one doubt their ability to put up runs. No, for sure. But
I love opening day ERAs. Like right now, Jose Barrios has a 10.8 ERA. It's like he'll be all right.
yeah,
He's not.
he'll be fine. He'll be fine. One good game that comes down to a 2-3. He'll be fine.
Right.
Funny. So the only games we have going on tonight, of course, we're recording on opening day, the night of March 27th.
Yeah, there are still games going on. We got Dodgers up 5-3 on the Tigers as we speak, top 8.
And of course, don't forget your West Coast games. We got the Cubbies there in Arizona at 9:10, and then another Athletics Mariners at 9:10. Man, Athletics Mariners like late 9 o'clock games. I love them.
I'm excited. I think I'm going to tune in. This is Logan Gilbert and Luis Severino.
Yeah,
and this is at T-Mobile, so we're not seeing the home opener of the Sutter Health Field yet.
yeah.
Which I will tune in for. I do think that's interesting enough to give a watch. But Severino versus Gilbert, that's a pretty good pitching matchup. I thought the pitching matchup of the day was going to be Skeens versus Alcantara. I actually haven't even looked at the box score for that game, so I'm going to do that now. But Skeens, I drafted him in fantasy. We had our fantasy draft yesterday. So I drafted Skeens, and he did pretty good for me.
He did, yeah. Gave up 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts over a 5 1/3. Pirates lost that game 4-5 though. I mean, you're going against Alcantara, which is always the thing, right? Alcantara himself went ahead. He only did 4 2/3, and I think that's partially, remember, folks, that he's ramping up. He had kind of a lighter load during spring training, but even in 4 2/3, still 7 strikeouts, 4 walks though, and I think that's a control issue that he'll need to reel in here as he gets used to going 5 days again.
Yeah, I think weirdly enough, not that the problem is that 2 of the better pitchers in the National League, that like literally Sandy Alcantara and Paul Skeens, like could both win a Cy Young.
Totally.
But those teams aren't going fucking anywhere. So it's like, watch the first 5 innings of the game. See you later. I feel bad saying that, but it's like, all right. But
one of the things that I'm tracking really closely is these Kansas City Royal games, man. I didn't
even look at them.
They did lose to the Guardians, unfortunately.
Okay.
Guardians being Guardians. Guardians didn't even hit. Really didn't look like they did much of anything. Oh, they got 10 hits. I mean, that's not bad. That'll get you some runs, but they didn't really do anything. It was a 10-inning game.
Manzardo had a couple doubles. That's pretty good.
Yeah, sure did. 4 ribbies there. That's good. God, they used a lot of pitchers in this game. They used 6 pitchers in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, Manzardo doubled. Wow. Quan had an RBI double. Was that is that 3 RBI doubles for Manzardo? That's crazy. No, so
That
Manzardo had
no,
two RBI doubles in a home run.
no
Holy
home run.
crap.
I
Wow,
mean, he's one of
Manzardo.
those. Yeah, he's one of those younger guys. If they can get him clicking, I mean, and that's the thing with. I think that's the thing with Manzardo too. Is Manzardo? Remember, he's replacing Josh Naylor, which was a
Mm-hmm.
controversial move for the Guardians, and
Yes.
they need him to perform to justify getting rid of Josh Naylor, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot going on in that game that I think is interesting. Manzardo popping off like immediately pays off all of the not all of, but a lot of the fear that people had getting rid of Naylor, who's like one of the better, like his brother played for the team and like, oh, this is a cool, like feel good thing. He's kind of like a guardian, as much of a guardian as you can be. He was one of the like glue
Yeah,
guys in that clubhouse. They get
yeah,
rid of him. He moves on to Arizona, and it's like, okay, who do we got? This guy, Kyle Manzardo, coming up. If he pops off this season, nobody's going to remember Josh Naylor. Like, nobody's going to
no,
care that he's in Arizona because Manzardo's a lot cheaper. And if he keeps performing, he could be a lot better. He projects to be better than Naylor. So I'm happy for him. But another thing that I want to point out in this game, a guy that everybody was a little worried about him health-wise coming out of camp, but Vinny Pasquantino, 3-run bomb, Kyle Isbell and Bobby Wood Jr. scoring on that. I mean, if he can get moving early, then we're going to look at an even more dangerous Royals lineup.
yeah. I mean, he's the guy. He's one of the guys that I'm actually really excited about. Pasquantino. I think he is. I think he's someone who is really going to come into it this year. I, wow. I mean, really, if you look at that lineup, I wish they showed me the actual lineup. Probably
Yeah.
because I'm not an MLB.com. Stupid.
MLB.com is so annoying. It's like you have to like get into the whole like presentation of a game summary to even get any information from it. It's so annoying.
Dumb. Super dumb. Um, but yeah, I think he's someone definitely to watch this year. Man, I want to go back.
Hear you right now.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, we're dealing with technical issues.
Oh, that's okay. You do that and you let me know.
You wax poetic. I'm going to leave and come back.
All right, fantastic. But yeah, one of the things I want to look for, I'm going to be looking for the Guardians is, and we talked about Kyle Manzardo, but Kyle Manzardo is really going to be, I think, spending most of the time at DH because let's not forget that Carlos Santana is on the Guardians. They got veteran Carlos Santana and added Santana to that roster as well. So Santana and Manzardo, I assume, will be switching out between first base and DH for the Guardians too.
I mean, I'm happy to see Santana back in a Guardians uniform, period. But to see, like, I don't know, to watch him like shepherd in the new guy and like kind of play this mentorship kind of role. That's the type. He's like this hired gun bat that's been going around the league for a while. But this is kind of like where I see Carlos Santana as his home team through his career. Like, if he's not going to, but if he were to get elected to the Hall of Fame, I think he goes in with a Cleveland hat on.
I would think so.
So, I mean, it's cool. It's really cool to see him back. Clase gets the win in that game, by the way. 9 ERA from Clase. Gave up a run.
That's the thing with Clase. I feel like he has a couple games sprinkled in there where he just like screws the pooch. Like
he had like a 3 ERA last season. Even with all those saves, he still had like a higher than normal ERA for the saves leader.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he'll go 7 straight appearances, lights out, and then that 8th appearance is just like 3 runs, and I'm like, all right.
Very Kenley Jansen. Very like
yeah.
You're gonna have your bumps and bruises when you have him on the mound, but for those 7 straight that he's unhittable, that's what you're paying him for. So
totally. Parker, I want to move over to kind of something that is been an ongoing, kind of hovering over everything here. Now, I want to talk about contract extensions because, believe it or not, the talk is still happening with some players on contract extensions. And first and foremost, I want to talk about the one that did happen, and that's Big Dumper. Cal Raleigh got paid.
Yeah, he did. 6 years, 100 something million, 120, 106, I want to say, still coming off the dome here. He got paid, and I love to see it because he's if not, he's 1A and 1B with him and William Contreras for best catchers in baseball. I think defensively, I think Raleigh's got him beat, and Raleigh on his good day is probably a better offensive player than Contreras, but Contreras I think is more consistent. It's kind of like Raleigh's like the long ball, and like that's it. Whereas Contreras is a more complete hitter. But either way, Cal Raleigh, love the fact that he's going to be in Seattle for the next 6 years. I want to say it's just one of those contracts that just, covers arbitration in a couple of years past that, which is great. Love those deals because then the player can prove himself, get paid early, and then go hit the market when he's still, especially for a catcher, you want to get to the market as soon as you possibly can if you're going to hit it at all. So yeah, no, super happy for him. Big dumper signing the long-term extension in Seattle.
And you know what I'm going to say is you can sign him an extension all you want, but what are you doing in the next year or two? Like, Mariners, I need you to, I don't mean to shit on the Mariners all the time, but I'm so disappointed in what they've done, and they need to pedal to the metal like yesterday.
So yes, same exact point, but like glass half full perspective on that is like, yes, this team has the best starting pitching rotation in baseball. Yes, they absolutely need to go get more bats. Okay. Now your two most productive offensive players, Cal Raleigh and J-Rod, are both locked in for the next forever. So now go get more.
Yeah.
Like we kept them around. We're clearly trying to build something here, but arms don't. The shelf life on that rotation is dwindling quickly because guys like Luis Castillo are going to start hitting walls that they weren't hitting, 2 years ago. So build that lineup quickly. If they're in the mix, we can see bats getting moved. Like who knows? Does Luis Robert go to the Mariners this trade deadline, and then boom, all of a sudden this is a contender. So yeah, no, I'm with you. I completely agree with your point. I'm trying to keep glass half full in the Mariners because that rotation is just so damn fun to watch.
Yeah, it sure is. Someone that I always thought the Mariners would go after if he didn't get an extension, that would be Vladdy Guerrero Jr. But to me, Parker, the recent update from today is that they're apparently still talking on an extension. And over spring training, I got a lot of vibes that like it just seems like these two parties do want to come together on an extension. And if I had a bet, I think this does get done. Vladdy was looking for 14 years, 500 million, which I think gets it done.
Yeah,
honestly,
if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is on my team and he looks at me and says 14 years, 500, I'm like, how about 505? Like, get it done. Do whatever you have to do to keep the man in the building. He is the life and soul of that Mariners, of that Blue Jays team. I'm going to be honest. Like, you know what signing Vladdy does? It lets Bo walk. And I don't want Bo around, to be honest. But if you let Vladdy walk, you have to keep Bo around to keep the fans from burning down Rogers Center. So like sign Vladdy and then you can get Bo off your payroll. Because personally, I just don't see it. I don't think he's going to be that guy, but the label that was placed on him when he first came up, him, Vladdy, and honestly at the time, Kevin Biggio, was like, okay, these guys are going to save the franchise. And if you let Vladdy walk, I think you have to keep Bo around just for like, I mean, I wouldn't, but you have to do it for like the fans because I feel like they think you need to.
That's an interesting thing you throw out there. I think I look at it a little differently. I think, and this is a total conjecture. I don't know. I don't even know any Blue Jays fans. Mm-hmm. I think Blue Jays fans are probably more irritated and kind of annoyed with Bo than wanting to keep him around, number one.
Okay.
And number two, I would think if I don't sign Vlad, then I sure as hell don't want to keep Bo because then I'm forced into kind of a retool situation. And I sure as hell am not paying Bo now that I don't have my main guy. So I think if you don't sign Vlad, or you do, you're still giving up on Bo. I don't think Bo's their solution long term, regardless.
No, neither do I. I don't think Bo's their solution long term. The Blue Jays, like I love the Santander signing. It's just not going to be enough for this year. We saw it today. Like the offense just didn't click. And granted, this is one game against Zach Eflin. It's baseball. There are 161 more games to play. but I just am not confident in the Blue Jays' ability to compete in a division like the AL East this year, which I just think is going to make the temperature in the room increase very quickly. And if you don't sign this Vladdy extension, I think it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, I think so too. But hey, the Blue Jays did extend someone. They extended their catcher Alejandro Kirk, and I like
What was
Alejandro
that
Kirk.
contract again?
That contract was a 5-year extension for 58 million. And here's the thing about it is he actually was signed through his final ARB season and 4 free agent seasons, which is
that's
not insignificant
for us for 5. You said 5 for what? 58.
Yeah, that's
solid. That's
solid.
a steal.
Yes,
that's less than
100%.
12 million AAV. That's super good. I mean, and I don't even think he's top 10 catcher in MLB, but he's also a very consistent catcher. You know what you're going to get from him. He's good defense. He has a relationship with those starters in the room, in the rotation and in the bullpen. So keep him around, and he plays consistently. I want to say he's one of the higher games played catchers out there. I'm going to look that up right now, so I'm not talking out my ass, but I think he plays a shit ton of games. He played 103 games last year, which is like,
I mean,
can't ask for too much more from your catcher.
No, not really at all. Yeah, that's an interesting signing. I think that's a pretty solid move, despite the fact they're still working on Vlad. Now, there is something rather significant that I'm sure you saw today. Let me try to look it up here before I.
Okay, yeah. So this is a better. Sorry, one more better barometer for his games played. 139 games played in 2022, 123 in 2023, and 103 in 2024. So he's like going down in games played, but he's only 25. So I don't think that has to do with like age. I think he's still just out there posting. So good for them.
Yeah, 100%. Garrett Crochet. It looks like those talks are being tabled for an extension. I know, obviously, you feel very strongly as a Sox fan would that you would extend Garrett Crochet. I think you and I are both in the camp that the chance of it happening is probably like 5% chance, if that. Like, I just don't see it happening.
If it does, I think it'll happen in the offseason. Here's the deal. I'm in the boat of like give him $250 million now, because in a year that's going to look like a deal, like a steal for a guy like that. And I think they're nervous to overpay and get uncomfortable and stuff like that. Sure, whatever. But like, we saw him today. He had nasty stuff. He was hard for him to locate the stuff, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I was actually listening to Eno Saris the other day. He was talking about how when you play in a dome, it's actually sometimes it'll be either the perfect scenario for a pitcher or a nightmare scenario for a pitcher, because nobody practices in a dome. And so your pitches behave like they do in a lab. And it's almost like your slider will snap a little more and you'll have a harder time to locate it sometimes. So like, especially with a guy as electric stuff as he does, I honestly think that may have hurt him today. But I think that over the course of the season, it's going to even out, all things being equal. I think the guy, pitches like 180 innings and racks up like 220, 230, 40 strikeouts. And then he just became that much more expensive. So I think sign him now, and you would have been able to justify it later. Problem is that he has said he does not want to negotiate in season. That being said, players say that all the time, and then they end up signing extensions during the season.
Sure.
We have agents for a reason. Negotiate with that guy, get a deal done. I don't think that because we're not negotiating during the season, I don't think if the Red Sox were like, all right, fine, how about 9 for 260? I don't think he turns that down. I think he's like, all right, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on how just the first part of the season goes for him. Like you said today, he was kind of all over the place. All over the place, kind of too strong, but he wasn't locating kind of pitches in the bigger moments. I mean, obviously,
still only 2 earnings. Like, I think we're okay. I'm not like concerned.
Yeah,
about him,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think 4 Ks in 5 innings is a little low for him.
Yeah.
I think that's reflective of some of the low pitch locations, of course, and the 2 walks with that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I was not Wilyer Abreu with 2 home runs today was definitely not on the bingo card. Super impressive.
I got something on that. So Wilyer Abreu last time I almost texted this to you and I saved it for the pod. Last time Wilyer Abreu played in Texas, 2 home runs, massive, led to a win for the Sox, and it was on like either the day after or on the day of the passing of his grandma. He was super emotional. He was crying in the dugout. it was a very great moment for him. Like you could tell he hit the home run. He did the like beat his chest and point to the sky. And he was crying while he ran on the bases. It was awesome. So cool to see. Terrible, but great. He had twins in the offseason. And today he hit a home run for each one of his new babies.
Oh, man.
How cool is that? Like he gets these cool moments when he's in Texas. Jeez. Maybe we trade him to, I feel like he's more valuable. You trade him to Texas, figure up some space for Roman Anthony, and you get a huge haul just because he's going to Texas.
Those are the baseball stories that you just absolutely love. Like that's awesome. Do you remember? It reminds me of his Michael Lorenzen in 2016.
Oh
when
man,
his father died, and the day after he came back, he hit a 3-run home run as a pitcher. That's amazing. That is what I'm. That moment is just so.
That was when he was still doing the like somewhat two-way thing. Like he was sort of two-way back then.
Oh man, those are the best moments in baseball, man. I love those.
I love it, dude. I during that game, it was super cool. Christian Campbell's family was in the stadium. They got to watch him get his first big league hit, and it was a little squirm-inducing moment because it was the top of the 9th. Trevor Story was on first base. Christian comes up with two outs, 1 out. I don't remember. Anyway, Christian comes up and he hits like kind of a rocket of a ground ball to the third baseman. Hits off the third baseman's glove, pops into the air, and the shortstop's like, now he's out of position because ricochets suck, and it like loops over the shortstop and lands in the outfield grass, and Christian's standing on first like, let's go, and everybody starts calling for the ball. It was super fun. It was super cool.
Trevor Story, games started this year, over under 120.
120? Can I take 120?
It's an over under. No, you can't.
You should have put a half in there.
Well, I was about to say 119 and a half. I'll do that.
I'm hopeful for Trevor Story. Here's the deal. It's better for me if he doesn't, if I'm being completely honest, because the faster Marcelo Meyer gets big league at bats, I think the better. But I will take the over. I think Trevor Story is super motivated this season. And I'm one of those people that's like, Trevor Story's not actually injury prone. Yes, he's missed a bunch of time. Right. He got hit in the hand. He was making a play and landed on a shoulder and broke a bone in his shoulder, died. Like, that's not pulling a hamstring running to first. That is like an athletic play that just kind of went awry that could literally happen to anybody. And it's been freak injuries like that his whole time in Boston. And before Boston, he was a guy who's like, I post, like, this is what I do. I play 160 games a year and plus, and this is what I'm going to do every year. And that was what he was signed. It's kind of why he was paid the way that he was. And I just think that that's going to reemerge as what we think of Trevor Story as, especially in a Boston Red Sox team where he is the clubhouse leader. He is the guy that everybody is going to his house in the offseason and working out. He's bringing up this fresh crop of young guys. I want and need that guy in the lineup every day. So I think he plays more than 120 games. I got him at like 145, 150.
All right. Wow. That's a lot for a guy who has not played consistently. Wow. I hope
well, he's been on his ass. He's got all the energy in the world now.
Okay. I'm following Tigers, Dodgers right now, top of the 9th, 5-4. The Dodgers are trying to make it 3-0 to open the season. Do we just give them the trophy now? Like, goddamn, I don't.
Well, what did they do against Scoobs? Let me go look at the box score. I want to see how Scooble did.
Not a lot, honestly. I mean, Scooble went. Well, no, they did tack four runs on Scooble. That's interesting.
Wow. Yeah, especially with a lineup that's like, I don't know. This lineup is pretty nuts. Here, let me go to the Dodgers lineup. They had Mookie. Mookie was at shortstop today. He's 1 for 3. Teoscar, Freddie, Edmonds, a switch hitter. They stacked the lineup with righties for this guy. And let's see who did the damage. Edmund, of course. Edmund's got, Edmund's got a hit. Mookie's got a couple.
I would like to take this moment to point out that both Mookie Betts and Tommy Edman are on my fantasy team.
There you go, dude. I meant to go pull it up here a second ago. I want to go through our fantasy team because both of us were like living out our podcast memes in the like chat of the fantasy draft. And we ended up with some guys that we were like super high on. So
We totally did. Go ahead.
I ended up with Christian Campbell at second base. He went ahead and got me that hit today. And I also drafted Roman Anthony for my team, and I am super, super excited about that. But I think my proudest pick, which sucks because I wasn't excited when it happened, Austin Wells, who led off the major league season for the Yankees with a home run. I drafted him as my catcher. So.
That is awesome. Like I said, I had Betts and Edmund. We on this show love Mookie Betts and Tommy Edmund. We're big fans. Some of the picks that I just loved, I'm not sleeping on Jackson Holiday. Needed to get him for second base. Luis Robert Jr., because I'm a Luis Robert Jr. stan. But I also got some sleepers in here, Parker, that I think went under the radar with most of the other people in our draft. Like, can I give you Cam Newton?
Yeah, you drafted Cam Newton, dude. The guy who said the WNBA was going to catch baseball.
Definitely not Cam Newton. Cam Smith, who was part of the Cubs trade for Alex Bregman, who is starting right field for the Houston Astros and made the team. Top prospect Cam Smith. Got him in the draft, and he gave me a point today. Thank you very much. And then, of course, I had Sean Burke, who scored 22 points in the draft today, or in the fantasy league today. He started for the White Sox. But of course, I had to get Kumar Rocker and Roki Sasaki. Had to do it.
Your rotation looks good. I sniped Skeens from you. In the first round, first pick of the draft, for me at least.
You knew it.
I sniped Paul Skeens, and he was 2 picks behind me. And as soon as I drafted, he's in the chat like, you son of a bitch.
I mean, I think we know each other well enough to know now that was going to be on like number 1 on our boards. We have the need
I needed to lock. So that, not just to put a little context in, I may not have picked Paul Skeens first overall, or first in my draft, at least for me, in any other league. But this is a dynasty league that's going to be together for the next, hopefully forever. We could see ourselves playing this league for the next decade. And I drafted very young because of that. I even spent a draft pick for all of my psychopaths out there. Munetaka Murakami, the third baseman hitting prospect in the NPB right now for the Tokyo Swallows. He is going to be coming over to the big leagues next year. I spent a draft pick on him, and I don't know, he hit 30 bombs last year, so I'm looking pretty good. He was the third baseman that was in the WBC that just absolutely popped off.
True. By the way, Dodgers did win 5-4. Now they're 3-0. Wait a second. So I didn't even know this about our fantasy draft. Wait, so it's a dynasty fantasy draft? I did not know this. Thank you for telling me, Parker. That seems like a pretty significant fucking detail that you left out.
I'm not. I am not taking this on the chin. The name of the league, ladies and gentlemen, is Kirk and Friends Dynasty.
No. Okay. Listen. That still doesn't make any effing sense. How am I supposed to know that by reading a name?
Like, hold on.
Did you?
I'm gonna go. I'm putting our text chat on the thing.
No. Did you at any point say, "Hey, here are the rules of this league"? No, you did not.
Hold on.
No. Hold on. You're pulling out receipts. The receipts aren't going to have anything, dude.
I said, so can I count you in for a dynasty league? That was the first text I sent to you.
Hold on. No, I don't believe
there it is. There it is.
Okay. All right.
I got receipts, man.
No, to be fair, I've never done a dynasty league. I'm not a dynasty league guy, so it went over my head. It just went over my head.
You're locked in for the next decade, buddy.
All right. Great. Well, wow. Let me see how many picks I regret now. Let's see. Okay.
You actually didn't do too bad. At no point was I like, oh, what's this guy drafting? This is a dynasty league.
Actually,
I mean, Jackson Holiday, you're going to be fine.
Yeah,
Jonathan India, Colton Cowser.
I think the oldest guy I have in here is Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got James Wood, right. You got Cam Smith, you got Garrett Crochet, Dustin May, Kumar Rocker,
Yeah.
Roki, you're going to be just fine dynasty-wise. You'll be all right.
You're right. You're right. Well, then, yeah, I totally knew what I was doing then. Let's just say that. Okay,
What do you mean? We knew the whole
yeah, I
time.
totally I knew what I was doing. Whatever.
I'm currently getting smoked in my matchup because I have I'm playing against a guy who drafted Adley Rutschman. So he put up a solid 15 points today with 3 hits.
Crap.
3 hits, 2 home runs.
Holy Jesus. Yikes. Yikes. One thing I before we forget, because I know I'm going to forget if I don't say it now. Next week we are not having a normal episode here. I'm going to be Parker. I'm leaving at 3:30 a.m. to go to Florida.
God bless.
Just missing spring training.
That's crazy, dude. No, drive safe, but don't worry for everybody that is concerned. There will be something next week. I will be dropping the video that we filmed in spring training, our little like vlog / bunch of snippets of us talking and walking around the spring training areas. It should be fun.
I'm very excited for that. And now that the season has started, I can't wait to see if we were right about some things or just totally talking out of our ass. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the shit we were just spewing as we sit there and talked. We definitely, you know what I'll get out in front of this. Hand up. Did not have Joey Gallo transitioning to pitching when I was sitting there watching him take BP. Did not have that.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second?
I don't think we mentioned this yet on the pod.
No, okay. All right.
What are you doing? Pulling up his pitching splits because it's not going to be there.
No, that's not what I'm doing. Listen, all right. I recommend, first off, and I'm going to recommend, I'm going to double recommend, or wait, recommend by association, because Parker showed this YouTube channel to me, and now I'm going to share it with you guys. Trevor May baseball, dude.
Oh,
I love Trevor May on YouTube. I watch his shit religiously now. Thank you, Parker. And he went into this. He had this short today, or maybe from a couple days ago, where he talked about why position players moving to pitching hardly ever works. I don't think people realize, like, you can't just start pitching. This is like a 5-10 year, started in high school, started in college, kind of train your body to do it. This stuff doesn't work.
No, the big success story that everybody will point to, of course, is Jacob deGrom. He was drafted as a shortstop and became a pitcher. And funny enough, like I think it was Eno Saris the other day. It might have been the same episode I was watching. He was on Talking Baseball, is what it was. And he pointed out that Jacob deGrom kind of throws like a shortstop, like pitches like a shortstop. And I thought about his arm slot and stuff like that. I was like, oh my God, he kind of does when you think about it. And he randomly just had like the nastiest stuff anybody had ever seen when he started pitching, but that doesn't happen. Like if you're going to transition from one side of the ball to the other, very often it is in the other direction. I think of another one that actually happened, position player to pitcher, Alexi Ogando used to pitch for those Texas Rangers teams that were good back when Michael Young and Adrian Beltre were on them. And I think about guys like that, but yeah, you don't see very many position players becoming pitchers because, like he said, it is a scientific, like slow burn for a decade prior to even touching a college mound or professional mound, let alone the big leagues.
You want to know a fun pitching fact today? It's the first the first game of normal opening day. It's called the first day of full games in baseball. And we already had a position player pitching. And we did. And it was former White Sox pitching against the White Sox, Nicky Lopez, who pitched a third of an inning today. He had one walk in a third of an inning.
If that ain't the most angel shit I've ever heard, that is so Angels to be the team. Yeah, of course, a team had a position player on opening day, and of course, it was the Angels. That's crazy.
And mind you, they weren't losing like 15-0. It was 8-0. Like, calm down.
We're playing the long game here.
Like,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
Ron
Were you
Washington,
getting so
chill.
diced by the White Sox bullpen that you were like, shut this shit down. Send Nicky out
Yeah,
there.
right. I'll tell you what. I'm serious though, man. I mean, that bullpen, man, it looked so good today. You had first off, you had Penn Murphy coming in for an inning, strikes out the side. Mike Clevenger comes in, gets out of a bases loaded jam with the strikeout of Jorge Soler, and then Cam Boozer, he gave up a homer. Okay, whoop de doo. All 3 outs were a strikeout. Like, goddamn,
Yep.
that's some
I
good
love that
stuff right
guy. I
there.
love Cam Boozer. We talked about him on the podcast before, but that's like the guy who's the real life embodiment of the movie The Rookie. I love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. I want to see, I think Shohei hit a bomb today. There's like a picture of him rounding third base doing the celebration. Edman hit a home run, of course, because Edman's like insane. And Ohtani did. He hit.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah. Ohtani hit his second home run of the season. It was in the 7th inning. And it was a solo shot. Oh, there he is. 2 bombs.
Okay, let's do this to wrap it up tonight here, Parker. I have a significant question for you.
Okay.
We're going into the first week of the season here. Give me 2 things you're really looking for next week, over the next week here that you'll be watching.
I'm interested to see. So Blake Snell in this start today, he left the game with a 3.6 ERA. Like I said, opening day ERAs don't mean anything. However, I want to see a really good first half out of Blake Snell, because if Blake Snell has a good first half, he always has a good second half. And if he has a good first half, I think you just hand him the Cy Young. He is that kind of a guy. So if Blake Snell could continue and have a good first, second, third start of the year, I think we're going to see a lot of good from him. And I think you could put him on Cy Young watch pretty quickly. And then I would say, if I were to pick an AL one, can Adley Rutschman keep it up? Like, Adley hit 2 bombs today. If he has a really hot first month, I mean, we're talking about a guy who can win an MVP at the catcher position. When was the last one to do that? Was Buster? He was Buster.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. I mean, watch Adley.
Damn. That'd be good.
What do you got? What's something that stuck out to you today that you're looking forward to in the next week?
Well, on the American League side, honestly, I'm going to New York because I want to see the Yankees' first 5 through the order one time and see if they really have the stuff to fill the shoes of Garrett Cole. I am concerned for them on that still. I just want to see how that rotation looks over one turn of the rotation. So that'll be interesting. On the National League side, Cincinnati, man. I was thinking, this is how big losers we are. I was dreaming, literally going to bed thinking about, what if Cincinnati got hot? Like, their pitching staff is not terrible. No. When you have guys like Ellie De La Cruz, Christian Encarnacion Strand, you have Tyler Stevenson, who I think is an underrated catcher. I mean, you have kind of a lineup there led by a Hunter Green rotation. Lodolo, Hunter Green, like, that team, I don't think is getting enough credit. They could pop off and lead the NL Central at the end of April, and I kind of want to see that.
They could. The NL, the first month of the season basically doesn't count. We saw that with the Pirates, 2 years ago, last year?
Yeah.
But I am interested to see what happens, because with the Pirates, with a 3.5-headed monster right now in their rotation between Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, and then Bubba Chandler also coming up.
Yeah.
Like, that could, who knows, man? You watch the Pirates sneak into the playoffs and start causing problems for way better teams.
Okay, so I'll this last thing I'll say about it is, could the NL Central be the AL Central of this year?
The AL Central
3 teams
last year,
you?
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Yeah, like AL Central last year, the same thing happens in the NL this year. We're like, hey, at the end of the day, you have Cubs, Brewers fall back, Cubs, and then 2 surprise teams. Hey, the Rangers, the Reds, and the Pirates are at the top of the division too, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
I like to put a note on how crazy that was last year from the AL Central. I have seen a person who knows ball pick all 4 teams at the top of that division to win the division this year. I've seen people pick all of the Royals, the Guardians, of course, the Royals, the Guardians, the Tigers, and who's the other team? The Twins. All of them could feasibly win that division, and it all happens this way because of the seasons they had last year. Could totally see that coming. Because imagine, like, what if the Pirates are pretty good this year? What if they win 82 games, 81 games? What if they go 500? And then they add a bat or two in the offseason next year? All of a sudden, it's like, okay, so pencil them in for a wild card, or at least shake shit up a little bit in that division. And then same thing with the Reds. If it all clicks, it all clicks.
Well, I don't know what everyone's talking about. I think everyone needs to calm down because the White Sox today played great offense, defense,
tied for first,
and had great pitching, and we're tied for first. And I don't think you should write off the White Sox just yet. And also, I think we need to do some sort of crazy thing. If they win the division, like, I got to do some crazy shit. Because could you imagine?
Say it with me. Say it proud. For all the haters. Southside. Stand up!
I'm telling you, man. Hey, weirder shit has happened in baseball. Could you imagine if they won that division?
I don't know if weirder shit has happened in baseball. I think this would be the weirdest shit.
Can you imagine a 121 loss team comes back the next year, improves their win total by freaking 50 games and wins the division?
Oh my God.
I'm just talking out of my ass.
We've seen it happen in the opposite direction. We've seen the Marlins go from World Series winners to one of the worst teams in the history of baseball. So who's to say? Who's counting the Sox out?
That's exactly right. We have our secret magic weapon, and it is Will Venable.
There you go.
Telling you.
There you go. Could be manager of the year if they improve their win total by 25 games.
Yeah.
Manager of the year, maybe. Who knows? We could see it.
I would like to think so.
The important thing to take out of this podcast is the fact that both teams that have Sox in their name are undefeated, and late night baseball is undefeated.
We're gonna have a all Sox American League Championship Series in 2025.
I don't know about 2025, but sometime in my life that'd be sick. You and I would have to get together for games for that.
Oh man. I don't even know. I think our show. Well,
you have the season tickets, so I'll buy my plane flight out to Chicago, and we'll have to go to a game.
True, fair. I got those covered. We would literally go into shock on this program. I don't even know if we could function.
No, absolutely not. How does that work, by the way? If you're a season ticket holder, do you get tickets to playoff games, or are you just like first chance to buy?
No, you get your seats, but you have to pay for your seats. So you get your seats, but you do have to pay for them. So what you pay for every year is you pay for the 81 games.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're guaranteed the seat, which is great.
So you basically have to say no before anybody else can buy it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So last thing I'll say, because I totally forgot to mention this about the game today. So this year, the White Sox are celebrating 125 years of White Sox baseball. Let's not forget, folks, they were the charter franchise for the American League in 1900. Yeah. So they're celebrating 125 years. They're doing things all throughout the season. And today I got this great big 125 year soft fleece blanket when I got to the ballpark today.
Nice.
And it has like Carlton Fisk, Paul Konerko, Frank Thomas. It's freaking the most beautiful blanket I've ever seen. It's in the car. It's coming with me to Florida. I'm going to snuggle with it when I get down there.
Hell yeah, man. I love it. Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate you. It was a hell of an opening day.
It sure was. We will be here. Remember, folks, not next week, but the week after, talking more baseball. Until then, take it easy. We'll catch you later.